It is Monday, January 3rd, 2022. I am James. You are you. We are here for the first official episode of the new year. And can you believe it? Can you dig it? This show has now spanned 3 separate years. It began in March 2020, charged all the way through the entirety of 2021, and here we are now, humbly coming to you from the top of 2022. I can't believe that in 2 short months, we are going to be celebrating the 2-year anniversary of this show. How do you top everything that we've done? Most notably, this past Friday, the first ever rockin' New Year's Eve on At Home with James. Now, before the show, I was on the production call with Mr. Dave Kaufman. He said to me, I truly don't think that we're going to get viewers on this show. Now, in fairness, he did also tell me, quote, you can do a lot of cool things with computers. But he also told me, I'm not sure if we're going to get viewers. And it was one of our best viewed episodes. Furthermore, I go to the VOD for the non-streamers of the world. That means the video on demand the next day. This thing's 80 retroactive views. I don't know who is watching this show after it airs live, but at least 80 people are watching this. And if you are, maybe come and watch with everyone else. Right now, I see the numbers climbing in the chat. I see it happening. Other things going on in the chat. We can't talk about what's going on in the new year without this. This comes from Devin, our production assistant. Quote, I have to admit that I had a very rough New Year's Eve. I was so intoxicated that I immediately broke curfew after Friday's episode and received a $6,000 citation. And to make matters worse, I got caught trying to fish change out of a donation bucket from Tim Hortons today. I've hit rock bottom. So from us on the show to Devin, what we're going to do is we're going to encourage you to lay off the Mike's Hard Eggnog, lay off the hard lemonade, lay off of the Coors Light iced teas, also known as Clit. And I think that you're going to find your bliss in 2022. Now, the matter at hand is tonight. Who's going to be here much later on for the first time ever? And it doesn't happen often. This is a first-time guest alert. Because it's the new year, we have so many questions that need answering. And there's only one person that can answer these questions. Now, we could have gone to a fortune teller. We could have gone to a tarot card reader. We could have gone to Jojo Savard. But we went to the number one future predictor available to every modest internet stream. And that person's name is Nostra-Dave-Us. And he comes to us later tonight to answer all of the burning questions that I have and you have. So I want you to load up on any question that you need predicting, whether it's personal or if it affects every single person walking this earth. Also joining us in just a matter of moments is Marc Rowland. Now, last time he was here, this guy's video froze and his entire appearance was completely and utterly botched. Now, I've been taking some really passive looks in our production chat. And one thing that really caught my eye was this. Let's go back to it right here. This was Mark sent this to everyone in our production chat. Oh no, I'm worried about my internet. Hopefully it stays strong. Then I saw something else that was even more alarming in our production chat. Devin writes to us, James, your audio might be peaking. Do you have your gain set really high? Let's check. My gain is set exactly where it usually is. So we're gonna see how things go. I'll say this right now. My audio the other night on Friday absolutely sucked. It's like my audio was doing an impersonation of our Instagram account. Sucked. So we're gonna see how things go tonight. I'll tell you what. If I need to unplug and plug my microphone back in, I will do that for the betterment of this show. Now, I want to say something right here, right now. I said that Kathy Fagan was going to be here tonight. She sent me an alarming message prior to showtime. I'm going to read it here. I don't think this is really destroying any type of confidentiality. Unprompted, Kathy wrote OMFG, which is an acronym for Oh My Effing God. James, I'm really sorry, but I might have to cancel tonight. Frowny face. I'm staying at my aunt's vacated house, and she said it might be 10 to 12 hours before Bell can activate it. I don't know what any of that means. She never answered my prior or my message in response to hers. I don't know what's going on with Kathy Fagan, but maybe we'll get her back at some point this week. Guys, I've wasted enough of your time. You're here for the guests. Nobody's here for me, and they never will be. They're here for all the top quality guests. So let's get to our first one. Please welcome to the show. He's the one. He's the only. Saw him earlier today. He has a beard. He's Marc Rowland. Marc, Happy New Year. Welcome to the show.
Happy New Year, James.
So, Marc, I would say that your audio sounds crisp. How does mine sound?
Oh, I love it.
It sounded very tinny and robotic the other night.
It doesn't sound that way to me.
Okay, well, that's good to know. Coming in from the chat right now, Thomas Barnwell, he writes, I just thought James's voice hasn't changed. So at least one person thinks that my voice is still like prepubescent. You know, I'm going to try something here. I'm going to try something just in the interest of making sure this show goes off without a hitch. I want to listen to my audio right back on the show right now. My audio, courtesy of Twitch, sounds perfect to me. So it might be Devin, or maybe Devin's wasted again.
It could be, yeah. I just hope I don't freeze.
Yeah, I would hate that. I would really hate that. And I'll tell you why, because this show's only got 2 guests tonight. And I've clearly proven by way of my intro that I don't have what it takes tonight to kill time alone.
Well, I'll try my best to help you, but occasionally you've been freezing, so that's why I was a little worried.
Yeah, this is definitely a YP, not an MP. That's a you problem, not a me problem.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess it's a me problem.
Well, let's do what we can, Marc. I mentioned Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
How did you spend New Year's Eve?
I was in basically like out in the mountains at Tremblant.
Oh, you went to Mont Tremblant. Now, that's a very erotic New Year's Eve destination.
Yeah, it was nice. I had a good
yeah.
time. Mm-hmm.
Was it erotic?
Yeah, it was. It was.
How erotic was it on a scale of 1 to 10 Jameses? 10 being the most erotic, 1 being, of course, the least.
Yeah, 7.
That's pretty good for 2022 eroticism.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Now, how did you spend New Year's Eve 2021? Be honest.
Just at my girlfriend's. I don't remember anything about it. And I mentioned
so you wouldn't be able to say whether or not New Year's Eve 2020 going into 2021 couldn't say whether or not it was erotic. Definitively.
I can't determine its level of eroticism.
All right.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
Okay, so we've gotten through that. Now, Marc, you've got a birthday coming up.
Oh, yeah. What a wonderful time for a birthday.
Yeah. Do you have any birthday plans?
No, I rarely do. Usually
okay.
I just have a meal with my parents.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that probably won't be erotic.
Maybe a 6 out of 10.
A 6 out of 10. Now, would you say that you coming out of your erotic New Year's Eve, has it really set the tone for what you want your birthday to be?
It set the tone for the whole year, I think.
So you're looking to have an overall erotic 2022?
Yeah, minimum 5.
Well, I want to acknowledge the chat again, because my New Year's resolution is to really engage with the chat more. Although, frankly, I think that I do, if anything, too much at the current state that it's at. Devin has asked people, audience, how's James's audio? We've got, it's fine. And then finally here, we've got, sounds more manly than James, but that was in response to your audio. So the audience thinks that you sound more manly than me.
They think my audio is more manly.
Uh-oh. Marc, are you still with us?
probably due to my high level of eroticism this year.
Oh, I think you're
did I
back. Mark,
freeze?
yeah, you had a very brief
Yeah.
moment of freezing. Yeah. So you think that your manly voice is due to your high levels of eroticism, and it's only 3 days into the year.
That's right. I'm trying to maintain it.
Now, without me answering any questions, would you say that you would place a substantial amount of money that thus far your 2022 has been more erotic than mine?
Yes. I'd place a lot of money down.
Well, let's talk about why you're here tonight, Mark. Now, you accepted
Okay.
you accepted my
Did
invitation.
I freeze or something? Because you just
No, my pause was in
man,
relation
maybe
to your
my
answer
internet
and
is
not
bad.
your internet quality.
Okay. All right.
Now, I asked you to come onto this show a couple days ago, and you mentioned that you'd love nothing more, but for a very specific reason. Mark, would you like to tell everyone why you specifically wanted to be on tonight's program?
Yeah. I'm actually I heard Connor Rose some time ago saying that he thought that Andy stole poetry from him. Am I totally frozen?
Well, I wouldn't say totally, but you're getting close to it.
Okay, but can you hear?
Yeah, we can hear you. It's we're on a very hilarious delay.
You're on a robo voice.
Well, now it seems like Mark is totally frozen. We've got coming in from Phil Smith 8 in the chat, frozen video super manly.
You want to bring me on also?
This is an unbelievable occurrence. This is the first show of the year. One guest has already disappeared, and another guest is absolutely... Mark, you might be back now.
Yeah. I'm wondering if I should set up another.
I'm wondering if you should call your internet provider.
Oh, it's bad, but it's also, maybe I'll go to another room. Let me try that.
Okay, so Mark's taking us on location through his apartment here.
Yeah. And meanwhile, I'm gonna tell you about why I want to be on the show.
Of course, yeah, because we heard a very short snippet of it, but
yeah, it has to do with Connor Rose.
Okay.
You know Connor?
I know Connor.
Yeah. Well, basically claiming that Andy stole poetry from him.
Right.
And I have to say, I think that Connor stole it from me, because I am the original poet laureate of At Home with James.
Yeah, now this is true. Connor Rose debuted a couple poems as of January 2021. Now, Andy Asaf started doing some poems at the tail end of 2021, but you, Mark, provided us with some poetry in November 2020. So you're taking umbrage with Connor Rose taking umbrage with Andy Asaf.
Exactly. Yeah, the whole thing really, it really got me going. It got me really heated. So
now, do you think that played a part into the eroticism that you then participated in? Because, when you're heated.
For sure.
Well, now, I have to say, some people might be watching saying, well, did Mark rip off poetry from Harl Barnes, who was at one point providing poetry? But Harl Barnes is no longer with us, so may he rest in peace. So, Mark, you're alleging that you were the one and only true poet laureate of this show.
That's right. I'm the original. I'm the best. I'm the most prolific.
All right. So you believe to be the most prolific poet in the history of this program.
Exactly.
All right.
Like, do you remember Dave's birthday?
Yes, I do remember Dave's birthday. We had a birthday party for Dave on this show, and you provided a series of poems for Dave.
Yeah. At least 3, if not 4.
Well, am I to understand that you've come back to reclaim the mantle that you once sat upon as being the poet laureate of the show with some poetry?
Yeah. I mean, I've got a lot more poems for you, James.
All right, so it took a while for that dialogue to come out, but apparently Mark has got a lot more poems for us. Now, I suspect if Mark on the other side, probably he sees us freezing something fierce. But on our side, we see Mark is frozen in a very, it looks very, very ponderous. Not to create a word, but he's got a finger over his hand. He's frozen in deep thought on the show right now. So, Mark, we can hear you giggling from the background here. So, Mark clearly can't hear us.
Well, I guess what I'll do is I can.
Oh, so Mark, I think you're back.
James, let me just say I'm sorry for the horrible internet. I'll try to get through my poems as best as I can so that I don't totally ruin this show.
Mm-hmm.
First, James, before I freeze again, I want to start with a haiku.
Before.
If you're familiar with the Japanese style of poetry, and 5. It's 575.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So here's my haiku. Cold wind down Park Ave. Families on Mount Royal. The window fogs up.
Okay, so that feels very pertinent to today's weather as well as yesterday's weather and the weather that we're going to get all week. So this is very topical.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's supposed to be like haikus generally are supposed to be a slice of life. Whimsical.
Oh my God.
All right, Mark, would you like to read your next poem?
How are the numbers right now? Are they really good?
Yeah, they're dropping faster than the temperature outside.
Just bring me on.
Oh God. Okay, well
I'm receiving a production note from Devin.
Yeah.
Devin saying, bring on another guest before you drop to 0 guests. Excuse me, 0 viewers. So, Mark, we're immediately going to bring on another guest right now. Are you ready for this?
All right. Am I going to still be on?
You're still going to be on. We're going to see what happens here. Mark, I'd like for you to welcome the #1 future teller. That's the way that he wanted to be announced. The #1 future teller. Please welcome to the show, Nostra-Dave-Us.
Hello.
Nostra-Dave-Us, welcome to the show. This is Mark. I'm James. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. Mark, how are you? Mark? How are you, Mark?
I'm pretty good.
Good. Great, James.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm doing very well. Now I'm going to put you on the spot right now, future teller, Nostra-Dave-Us. I have a question that I want for you to answer.
Sure.
Nay, I need for you to answer.
Yeah.
Do you think that Mark will get through the rest of his segment without freezing?
No. It's very clear to me the future of this. And I will say, though, while I might be able to tell the future, Mark's internet is from the past. He's currently on...
Nostra-Dave-Us, it feels like your inclusion here may have fixed Mark's internet because he hasn't frozen. Mark, would you like to read another poem that I don't want myself, but
I'm channeling my...
So you think by having Nostra-Dave-Us along?
It doesn't hurt.
All right.
Doesn't hurt.
I'll do another short one.
Sure. Now, Nostra-Dave-Us, are you a poetry fan?
I am a poetry fan. In fact, I was hoping to read my own poem.
Oh, so you're looking to also read poetry on this show?
Yeah, I figured I could also... Everyone's doing it.
All right. Well, Mark, how do you feel about sharing the poetry focus tonight?
Well, I don't like it because I'm the poet laureate.
Right. Prolific.
Well, I predict I'll do it.
I'm the most prolific, but I'm willing to show how...
Well,
I
sure.
think the
I think it's
future-
okay to share. Mark, would you like to read another one of your poems?
Okay, this is an acrostic poem, James.
Yeah. Would you like to describe what an acrostic poem is?
Basically, it's pretty simple. It's just you take a word or a name, and for every letter in that
Yep.
word or name, you put a word. So
Right.
like yeah. So I decided to go with the word New Year, or two word really, the phrase
Oh,
New Year.
I love that.
Nice.
So here's the acrostic poem. Never eschew what you eat at restaurants. Never eschew what you eat at restaurants.
What does this chew mean?
It's kind of a pun. There's a pun, a play on words. Yeah, exactly. Eschew. So eschew sounds like chew, but
Yeah.
it means to avoid.
Okay. So this is a poem that again is kind of about current events, right? Because we can't be eating at restaurants.
Yeah, but I'm saying don't do that. I'm saying don't avoid eating at the things that you want to eat at restaurants.
Now, what did you think about that poem, Nostra-Dave-Us?
I liked it. I was sort of befuddled at the brevity of it.
All right, Mark, do you have any other poetry?
Yes, I've got one more.
I predicted
This is a bit of a
that.
longer one. Hopefully, I don't freeze in the telling of it.
Now, what was your prediction for that Nostra-Dave-Us future teller?
I've predicted that Mark would have one more poem.
All right, and you were correct.
That's right.
Mark, would you like to read this poem and give us what the title of the poem is?
I also predicted that Mark would freeze again, and he has.
This is correct. This is two correct predictions. Now, Nostra-Dave-Us, if Mark is unable to read this poem, does it then eradicate your prediction that he would have another poem?
No, because I do predict that his internet will come back, and he'll get through the poem by the end of the show.
All right, so we can see that he's very much frozen here, right, Nostra-Dave-Us?
Sure, or he's,
Oh,
there you go. He might be mid-coitus.
so you think that due to his penchant for
Hi,
eroticism,
guys.
He's very erotic. I predict Mark is gonna get, balls deep this year.
when?
This year.
That's quite a filthy prediction,
Well,
Nostra-Dave-Us.
I do make all sorts of predictions, clean and dirty. I'm not, your daughter's comedian slash
What?
fortune teller. I do a blue fortune telling act.
You're also a comedian?
I'm on the fortune teller's equivalent of the Nasty Show.
This is really something tonight. Now, Mark, are you? It seems like you're back with us.
I predict he is.
Yeah, I think I'm back.
Now, Mark, would you like to try to read your final poem? Well, Nostra-Dave-Us, if I had
Yes.
asked you prior to this show how you thought this show was going to unfold tonight, what would you have said?
I thought that it was going to be a disaster. And I was right.
All right, Mark, it seems like you're unfrozen.
So what? So what? I'm just gonna freeze again.
Try
If I
to read your final
Oh,
poem,
if-
Mark.
Oh my God! If I try to, every time I try to read it, I freeze again.
Don't think about it too much.
I spent a long time on this. God.
No.
Just give it a try, Mark.
Okay, Santa Claus. Are you ready?
Yep.
You're ready?
Yep.
Oh, good. Okay. There are lots of kinds of Santa Claus, and I have seen them all. And everyone takes time to pause on St. Catherine in the mall. There's big and small and in between and old and young as well. but the strangest one I ever seen had the most peculiar smell. The scent of peppermint and rum, and a fish smell by the book, a wide brim hat and a leg that's bum, and a parrot on his hook. Captain Santa Beard of pirate fame followed his treasured map to steal gifts from all the kids who came to sit upon his lap.
Mm-hmm.
That's Captain Santa Beard.
That was good.
So that was the end of the poem, Mark.
Yeah, that was my poem.
So you were able to get through all of your poems tonight, despite your bad internet connection's best efforts.
It only took 20 minutes.
Yeah, I would say a little bit more, but you know, we're not going to be picky here. So Mark, I want to thank you for that poetry. I'm curious to know, would you like to stick around for the rest of the show?
Yeah, sure.
Well, I mean,
I imagine I'll ruin it though. If you ask me
what do you foresee, future teller Nostra-Dave-Us?
I predict Mark will be an integral part of this next segment.
Okay, so you think that it's worth Mark staying around due to the fact that he's going to be, as you predicted, an integral part to the segment?
Absolutely. But he might freeze a couple of times, but that's okay.
All right, so you're predicting that he only might freeze.
I think he will freeze, but I think that it's going to end up being okay.
Well, I'll just let you know that Nostra-Dave-Us I hear on a delay, so I often hear your retelling of the answer, James, while Nostra-Dave-Us is answering.
All right, so this is a cue for me to not recap what Nostra-Dave-Us says because Mark hears it prior to the actual answer.
It's actually kind of helpful.
All right. Well, Nostra-Dave-Us, you're here because, of course, it's the new year. We want to pick your brain about things that we can anticipate or expect to have happen in 2022. Now, I'm sure that your phone has been off the hook with people asking you to, as you put it, predict the future.
Sure, I mean, I've been very busy communicating with the ethereal beings who give me hints as to what the future might hold.
Now, for the uneducated, what is an ethereal being?
Spirits, sometimes computer networks. Sometimes it's just a guy on the street. Could be anything.
Okay, so you take cues from different sources.
Different sources guide my light.
All right, so as I mentioned, Mark and myself, and of course Mark to the best of his abilities, we're going to be asking Nostra-Dave-Us to predict the future for this year. Now, if you're in the chat right now and you would like to ask questions, do not hesitate. Fire them fast and furious. I will relay the messages to Nostra-Dave-Us, and he will get the answer. Now, are there any questions or types of questions, Nostra-Dave-Us, that you have a difficult time in predicting or having an answer for? Some that are more foggy than others?
No, I pretty much run the gamut of questions. There's some questions I'm sort of sick of. A lot of people ask, but
all right, which are
stuff like: Am I going to be rich? How am I going to die? Will I survive the year? Will I find love? Boring stuff.
Boring stuff. Okay, well, Mark, do you have any questions for Nostra-Dave-Us as it pertains to what's to come in 2022? Yeah.
I guess it would be, what's my overall level of eroticism for the year? Out of James's, like how many Jameses?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And take us through, who are you connecting with right now to try to find these answers?
Well, I'm connecting to the dark web first to see if there's anyone out there who finds this type of fellow attractive. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. You're gonna get some this year. It's extremely erotic year for you. Watch out for butt plugs. Watch out for them. But yeah, there's gonna be some massage oils. There's gonna be some fishnet stockings, some fedoras. Things are gonna get slippery.
That sounds pretty erotic, Nostra-Dave-Us.
Absolutely. I got a little hot and bothered getting some of those signals from the ethereal beings.
All right. Well, okay. So look, this is something that often comes up.
5 out of 5 Jameses.
Well, usually it's on a scale of 1 to 10.
Okay, well, 10 out of 10 Jameses.
All right. Now, this is a topic that comes up on the show a lot, is my own love life. Now, people like to pick on me and tease me about it. And look, I play into it. It's part of the fun of the show. But I would like to ask you the same question that Mark asked you. What do you foresee is my overall eroticism in 2022, Nostra-Dave-Us?
Erotic quotient. I'm going to start calling it that. It's a calculation of 10 Jameses of level of eroticism. Let me think.
What's interesting that I asked that question, because coming in from the chat right now, question for Nostra-Dave-Us: when will James get some action? And apparently this person, Naive Adventures, claims that you cannot answer this. So this is a challenge now.
I could answer it. But that Naive Adventures falls under the boring category.
Mm-hmm.
Like I mentioned before. But eroticism levels, I like that. Let me think. Okay.
And can I just say, this is probably the longest Mark has been frozen throughout this entire episode.
You know, I hardly even noticed.
Am I frozen? I don't think I'm frozen.
You are quite frozen.
Oh, yeah, you are.
You're very frozen.
Yeah.
Yes.
But we can hear you, Mark.
We can hear you,
Oh,
but you're frozen. It looks like you might be practicing some eroticism right now, but I'm not sure. Anyway, James.
Yep.
I see in your future, I see some warming, lubricated jelly. I see, oh. This isn't so erotic, actually. It's more love-based. I see you falling for somebody. I see.
So it's not erotic.
Not erotic, more in the spirit of Eros, more of a love connection.
Oh, okay.
Although I don't see it reciprocated. I see infatuation, I see obsession, I see stalking.
So you're saying in 2022, I'm going to be obsessed with someone who does not have reciprocal feelings.
Breaking into an apartment. I see stealing underwear. I see hot dogs.
Okay, so in 2022, you're predicting that I break into someone's home and steal their underpants, and I've also got hot dogs.
Well, then you go to hot dogs, get hot dogs afterwards.
So it sounds like my eroticism levels are a 1 on 10.
2 out of 10 Jameses.
Okay, 2 out of 10. But Mark, are you still with us?
I think so.
All right, well, this is not the worst case scenario. We can at least hear you, Mark. So how do you feel about that answer, that you're going to have 10 out of 10 erotic experiences throughout the year?
Oh, thanks. I didn't realize that was the case. Yeah, that's awesome.
You don't have to thank me. I'm just telling the truth.
I feel very...
Now, Mark, do you have another question for Nostra-Dave-Us?
Do I have another question?
Yes.
Well, I guess I'm kind of curious about... I have a question about whether Nostra-Dave-Us is going to hear a question that he really likes. Like, what's going to happen in Nostra-Dave-Us's life?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Most people don't ask about me. Most people don't care what Nostra-Dave-Us is going through this year. But I appreciate
How does that make you feel?
Question. It tickles my insides a little bit, much like a butt plug. I'm going to say... What was the question?
Well, I'm just wondering, if there's like, the question was whether or not there's going to be a question that you're really going to enjoy this year, but maybe let's open it up. It's like,
so I'm going to answer it. You just asked me it, Mark. Sorry for interrupting, but I really enjoyed the question that you just asked me. And therefore the answer is yes. Go ahead.
A self-fulfilling prophecy.
That's right.
Coming in from the chat right now, courtesy of one of the all-time legendary viewers of the show, High Score Run, Nostra-Dave-Us, when will Mark unfreeze?
I predict that Mark will unfreeze shortly, only to tease us and then freeze again, because Mark's internet is shit. And clearly Bell did not set up, much like it did for Kathy. Bell did not come to Mark's house today.
All right, so there's your answer, High Score Run. Nostra-Dave-Us, I have another question for you. Now, I don't know if this falls under the boring category, but it hasn't been, you didn't state that it would. And I'm sure that a lot of people are curious, what do you foresee happening? And we'll keep it isolated to Montreal here. What happens with COVID in Montreal in 2022?
It's a good question. That's not boring at all. COVID's on the top of all of our minds right now. I predict the curfew gets even earlier.
How early? Is it going to go back to 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock?
I predict a 3 p.m. curfew. Everybody needs to go home by 3 p.m.
Now, can I ask you a follow-up? What is the response from the public to that very strict curfew?
You know, people are upset about it, but they don't do anything.
Oh, they just stay inside and they
yeah, you know, they get used to it. They're always on their phones anyway, you know, playing video games at home, you know, talking to fortune tellers on Zoom. People are really placated with their environment, and they adapt quick to tight regulations.
Okay, so you're saying if the curfew gets more strict, that would say that your prediction is that cases unfortunately continue to climb and the situation gets a little bit more dire. Is that what you're predicting?
I predict cases climb. They climb until there's a peak, and then they go down.
But the curfew gets stricter? So cases will drop, but the curfew gets stricter?
Well, they go up first, and they go down, and then we think it's over, and then I predict next year it's the same thing, and it's just sort of a cat chasing his tail kind of thing. It goes round and round until we're all bored of the whole thing, but everybody keeps talking about it because no one has anything else to talk about.
All right, so there's your answer to that question.
I have a question, though.
Please,
Sure.
yes, go for it.
So, Nostra-Dave-Us, has pandemic been good for you, for your business?
Oh yeah, people really like a Zoom fortune teller. You know, business was pretty slow until, because I was the only guy on Zoom. But then this pandemic came along and it really did wonders for my business.
Why Zoom?
Yeah.
What?
Why do you use Zoom?
What do you use? Microsoft Teams?
Ouch.
Well, there's also Skype, right?
Skype.
Well, I'm not saying that I advocate for Skype over Zoom. This is not a challenge of.
Are you getting defensive, Nostra-Dave-Us?
Hey, oh, why are you using the most popular teleconferencing software? Why don't you use something more niche? I'm sorry.
Well, there's no, like Mark mentioned, there's no need to get defensive. These are just questions.
You know, just like any technology, there's the Apple fanboys, and then you got the Android crew that's up their asses, you know, and vice versa. You just pick something.
Well, what type of mobile device do you use?
Me? I'm on a Windows phone.
You're using a Windows phone?
Yeah.
Well, coming in from the chat, right, we've got another question for you, Nostra-Dave-Us. Quote, when will we have live in-person shows again?
Well, that's a great question. I predict by March, you're going to have, first, you're going to have some indoor shows. And then you're gonna have another shutting down thing, and then they're gonna bring the indoor shows. They're gonna bring those outdoors.
Okay, so you think by March we will be back to indoor events, but then numbers will climb, forcing all of the indoor shows to go outdoors?
Yeah, exactly. And then you're gonna have sort of like drive-in movies. You're gonna have a lot of the just for laughs entertainers, the clowns running around. They're gonna be performing on the streets. It's gonna be like a carnival.
All right, we got another question here. Is our production assistant Devin ever going to show his face on the show?
I predict that, yes. I predict that Devin will be on the next episode of At Home with James.
That's quite a prediction.
Yeah. And the only way to make it happen is to book him on the show.
Okay, so he'll be on the next show if I book him.
Yeah.
But if I don't,
well, then he probably won't be, James.
All right. Mark, do you have any questions? Any further questions? Yep.
Yeah, I want to make some investments. I got a little money
You're looking
to put together.
Get rich.
Well, and I was wondering about the future of cryptocurrency.
Get some new internet.
It's the new internet?
No, you gotta pay for some new internet.
Oh, well, with that money, I'll be able to afford some new internet.
Sorry, my wife's sending me a text.
Oh, you're married?
Yeah, I'm married.
What does the text say?
Oh, she's just asking for money.
So, yeah, I was curious about the future of cryptocurrency, like where I should invest, what's going to happen, like what's going to happen with like Bitcoin and all these like meme coins.
Well, you're talking about NFTs.
The place to invest right now is
and all those.
Yeah, the place to invest right now is NFTs. So you have the Bored Apes. They partnered with Adidas, and then you have Artifact, which was purchased by Nike. Well, I'm looking for what Puma's play is going to do. So I'm going for any Tiger NFTs. That's what I'm betting on.
Okay, so you're saying a lot of these shoe companies are going to be taking on NFTs.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but you didn't.
You gotta play the game, baby. What's that?
You didn't say a prediction. You said what you're betting on, but you didn't predict what's going to happen.
To the moon. Things are going to the moon.
That's quite a prediction.
Vague. No, it's vague.
You gotta hold them.
To the moon.
You gotta hold them so that you can ride those rockets to the moon.
Do you mean to the moon metaphorically or literally?
I mean literally. Elon Musk is going to put an NFT on the moon in 2022.
Well, I think, Mark, you got your answer.
Okay.
Well, I've got another question for
Nostra-Dave-Us. If you give me some of that money, I'll invest it for you.
Now, Nostra-Dave-Us, you've mentioned butt plugs a couple times tonight.
Sure, yeah.
Now, similar to what Mark mentioned in terms of where do you see crypto going in 2022, I'm wondering, where do you see butt plugs going in 2022?
Oh, well, one place they've been going a long time is up the butt. But I also see, Nike and Adidas getting into butt plugs also.
Hold on. You're predicting that Nike and Adidas are going to come up with a line of butt plugs?
Yeah, well, one's going to start and then the other one's going to compete in the space. So I predict Air Jordan is going to have a line of butt plugs. You know how he does that kind of dunk?
Yeah, that, yep.
Well, one of them's going to be dunking a butt plug into an asshole.
Well, and okay, so are there going to be any other sports stars endorsing butt plugs?
And then, you know how Adidas has the 3 stripes?
Yep.
Well, those 3 stripes are going to be on a butt plug.
Well, you mentioned Puma earlier. Does Puma get into the butt plug game?
Sure, yeah. They come up with a line of Pumas.
Now, what is that logo? Is it the
what?
Puma with a butt plug in its butt?
It's a butt plug for your mom.
What?
It's a Puma.
Right, okay.
For your mom's poo.
Yeah.
Keeps it inside her butt.
Yep. Well, now I know that Fila shoes are really in again. Does Fila get into the butt plug game?
It's interesting that you asked, James. Because I'm seeing, yes, I'm seeing Fila that ass with this butt plug.
Mark, what do you think about that? Well, I guess his audio's frozen now.
Skechers, James.
Okay, what does Skechers do?
And will this be lucrative, or are they all gonna?
No, this will fail.
What do you think about that?
This is gonna fail.
Poor business decision.
Yeah, but hold on now. Earlier on, you predicted that you saw butt plugs in Mark's future. Is there any correlation between that and all of these shoe-branded butt plugs?
Well, Mark likes to ride the trend, so when they come out with these plugs, he buys an inaugural pair. But then,
wait, they come in a pair?
No. Well, yes. You buy a pair of shoes and there's one in each shoe.
Hers, I guess.
Yeah.
Sorry? His and hers, yes. Well, or theirs. Them and theirs.
Mark, do you have any final questions before we wrap this episode up unmercifully?
Is this for ending this?
Well, we're at 9:54 here.
There's so many more shoe companies.
Well,
what about Aldo?
Well, yeah, what does Aldo do?
Aldo, put that in your ass.
All right. Well, what about Vans?
Yeah. What about them?
Look, all I was trying to say is that we're gonna begin winding the episode down.
Okay.
I will say that our numbers have been consistently nice throughout the night.
Hey, you're welcome, everybody.
Yeah. Now,
really?
Now, someone's coming in from the chat right now. What about Adidas? You answered that question already.
Yeah.
Would you like to reaffirm that answer?
3 stripes up your ass.
All right, Mark, do you have any final questions for Nostra-Dave-Us?
Crocs.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Guess
Mark.
what's going to happen with my internet?
Your internet? I predict your internet will be poor until you set your router to a different frequency.
Well, that didn't seem like so much like a prediction as much as it was advice.
I would suggest that you switch frequencies. Are you in an apartment? Are you in an apartment, Mark?
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably need to switch bands.
In an apartment.
Yeah, you gotta switch bands. Just go into the router settings and switch bands that you're on. There's probably a lot of interference based on the fact that a lot of people are using the same band. If you switch it, you'll probably have a better
Now, before you got into future telling, did you have a history in IT? Because that's what is being asked in the chat right now.
Yeah, I used to work in IT.
Okay, so Mark, look, this was great. Not only did you get your future told, but you got some nice tech advice from Nostra-Dave-Us.
Sometimes I would consider
Great.
resetting
So when I'm on the
your
show
router.
next,
Yeah, when does Mark next appear on the show, Nostra-Dave-Us?
Well, if you want to do a pure IT segment, we could do that. I wouldn't do any predictions in that one, but I could help you get a Wi-Fi repeater, maybe boost your signal. We could do some troubleshooting, that kind of stuff.
It's a pretty good idea for an episode, a tech support episode.
Sure, yeah.
Now we've done the tech zone. This could be a full length. I like that.
Yeah. Sometimes it's good to go with a wired connection too, Mark. Yeah, with an Ethernet
I should have
cable.
wired in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, you gotta call the cable company sometimes, because sometimes they throttle you until you call them out on it. But if you call them out on it, they'll generally switch that up for you.
This is great advice.
All right. Well, Nostra-Dave-Us, before we start to wind down here officially, where can people find you for future tellings?
I've got a website.
All right.
So look it up or Google it, you'll find me.
So wait, so you're not going to give the URL? You're just going to tell people to Google you?
Just Google it.
Why don't you give the URL?
Well, I've got to spell it out. People are going to probably mistype it. If you Google it, you'll find it.
Just
a lot of the times.
Yeah, but how are they going to Google it? If you think they're going to misspell the name, how do you expect them to Google it?
Davis.
Yeah. What's just tell
I'm
us
on Instagram also.
Just what's okay? So what's your Instagram account?
I tell the future.
So at I tell the future.
Yeah.
Was that the URL of your website?
No.
What's the URL?
I tell the future. .com.
Why did you think people were going to misspell that?
Because people don't know how to spell properly.
But you were so liberal in giving out your Instagram handle, but you felt very reticent to give your website URL.
Anyway, it's HTTPS, so it's totally end-to-end encrypted. So if anytime you gotta ask you to put in your credit card information or anything like that, you don't have to worry about man-in-the-middle attacks. It's all safe. I've got it all configured to the ideal settings.
Okay, so it's HTTPS. Then what would that be? Would that be a colon afterwards?
Colon /
Yeah, www.
I tell the future.com.
And look, if you're worried about people not being able to spell that, can you spell that out for us?
So I is I, as in I. T as in tiger, E as in Earl, L as in ladies, then L as in ladies again, then T as in T-Rex, H as in Helen, like Helen Mirren, L as in, no, did I mess it up?
Yeah, no, you got it. Yeah, I'm just.
Yeah, L as in ladies.
Yeah.
What?
Wait, I said that wrong. See, I can't spell it.
Yeah, you got the ITLL, but then you got the THE, but then you miss future.
That's the thing. You don't know how to spell things. That's why it's just you Google it. You know, this is why I suggest that. It's because we don't have to get into these kind of.
All right, it's itellthefuture.com.
.com, yeah.
All right, is there anything you'd like to give as some kind of just like last minute predictions for the future, maybe things that we didn't touch on for the audience watching right now?
Well, right now I'm getting that a meteor is going to strike the Earth and kill everybody.
When?
2022.
This horrible news.
Yeah, hold on, my wife.
What does your wife want?
Apparently she can hear me. No big deal.
What did you answer back?
I didn't write anything. What am I going to do? I'm doing a show.
Okay, so a meteor is going to hit the Earth. What else?
Oh, it's pretty big.
All right.
Oh, I predict 100-page views on itellthefuture.com.
All right. Well, that's a pretty good prediction for yourself.
Thank you.
All right. Well, Mark, I want to thank you so much for doing your best to try to appear as we know you, which is a lively, upbeat, moving person. Unfortunately, you've been frozen for half of this episode. Any last words for not only the audience, but Connor Rose?
I just want to say thank you for having me, and thanks for giving me the opportunity to tell my poetry in really the best forum for it.
All right. Well, I appreciate that, Mark. And then I want to wish you good night. And Nostra-Dave-Us, I want to wish you good night as well.
Hey, good night, man.
All right. That was Marc Rowland and Nostra-Dave-Us live on At Home. Coming in from the chat right now, the frozen image of Mark has turned into an NFT, apparently. Folks, that's the show. That's it. And I'll tell you what, when I planned this show 2 days ago, in my brain, it unfolded so differently than the way that it did tonight. Kathy Fagan was here, Mark was here, and we could see Mark, we could hear him, we could watch him move. Although I will say that Nostra-Dave-Us turned out exactly as I had envisioned. This is the second year in a row in which the first episode of the year has had a series of mishaps, bloopers, blunders, and boners. But I'll tell you what, my ass, as they say, is not burned over it. This is the beauty of live entertainment, is that sometimes it's not that entertaining, but we hung in there. We made the most of it. And when episodes like this happen, historically speaking, we rebound so hard the next time around. And the next time around is, of course, this Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Who's going to be here? Andy Asaf is going to be here. I hope to God that he's feeling better. Otherwise, we might have a repeat of tonight. And nobody, and I mean nobody, wants that. Until then, I want to thank you so much for watching. My apologies for the technical difficulties. It happens. We move on. It is fleeting. The good episodes, the bad episodes, they go to the same place, the past. And with that being said, I wish you a happy new year. I am James. You are you. We were here. Good night, goodbye, farewell, and of course, be well.